Imagine spending years preparing for your dream education in the United States. Imagine receiving your university acceptance letter, securing your student visa, paying thousands of dollars in tuition, saying goodbye to your family and boarding a flight with excitement about your future. Now imagine that after all of that effort, after all of those sacrifices, your journey is suddenly interrupted by a single conversation at an airport. Not because your visa expired. Not because your passport is invalid. Not because you committed a crime, but because you could not clearly answer a few questions about your own university and academic program. It sounds unbelievable, yet this is exactly the reality that many international students are facing in today's increasingly strict immigration environment. If you are an F-1 student, if you are planning to study in the United States, or if someone you care about is currently attending a university in America, then this information could be one of the most important things you hear before your next trip. Across airports throughout the United States, Customs and Border Protection officers are paying closer attention than ever before to the details of a student's academic life. Every day, international students arrive at major airports expecting a routine immigration inspection. Many assume that because they have a valid visa in their passport, entry into the United States is guaranteed. Unfortunately, that assumption can lead to serious problems. The truth is that a visa only allows you to travel to a U.S. port of entry. It does not guarantee admission. The final decision is always made by the Customs and Border Protection officer standing on the other side of the inspection counter. That officer has the legal authority to determine whether you qualify to enter the country under the terms of your student visa, and in today's environment, officers are asking more detailed questions than ever before. What is surprising many students is that some of the most important questions are not about immigration paperwork at all. Instead, they focus on the student's university, major academic advisor, courses, graduation timeline, and future educational goals. A question that appears simple on the surface can suddenly become a major issue if the student provides vague, inconsistent, or uncertain answers. Questions such as what are you studying? Who is your academic advisor? What courses are you taking this semester? When do your classes begin? Or what are your plans after graduation? May seem straightforward, but immigration officers use these questions to determine whether you are genuinely maintaining your student status, and whether your answers match the information contained in government databases and university records. This heightened scrutiny comes during a period of significant changes in international student enforcement. Over the past several years, immigration authorities have increasingly relied on electronic databases, data sharing systems, and enhanced screening procedures to verify information about student visa holders. Universities, immigration attorneys, and student advocacy organizations have reported growing concerns about sudden status issues, additional inspections, and increased documentation requirements. Many students who believed they had done everything correctly found themselves facing unexpected questions at airports, border crossings, and visa interviews. While most students ultimately enter the country without major problems, the number of individuals facing delays, secondary inspections, and additional scrutiny has increased enough to become a major topic of discussion throughout the international education community. To understand why preparation is so important, it helps to understand what actually happens when an international student arrives at a U.S. airport. After landing, travelers proceed to immigration inspection where an officer reviews their passport, visa, and travel documents. During this brief interaction, the officer is making an assessment about whether the traveler qualifies for admission under U.S. immigration law. For many students, the conversation lasts only a few minutes. However, if something appears unusual, inconsistent, or incomplete, the officer may refer the student to secondary inspection. This is a separate area where additional questioning takes place. Being sent to secondary inspection does not automatically mean something is wrong, but it does mean that immigration officials want a closer look at the situation. Many students underestimate how important confidence and preparation can be during these conversations. Consider two students enrolled in the exact same university program. The first student confidently explains their major, discusses recent coursework, identifies their academic advisor, describes current research projects, and accurately states when classes begin. The second student hesitates repeatedly, struggles to remember basic details about their program, cannot identify their advisor, and provides conflicting information about enrollment dates. Even though both students may be legally enrolled and fully compliant with immigration rules, the second student is far more likely to trigger additional questions simply because their answers create uncertainty. Immigration officers are trained to identify inconsistencies, and uncertainty often leads to closer examination. This is why experts consistently advise international students to thoroughly review their academic information before traveling. Students should know the full name of their university, the city where the institution is located, the name of their academic department, the details of their degree program, the expected graduation date, current course enrollment, and the source of their educational funding. They should also review their Form I-20 carefully and ensure that all information is accurate and up to date. Something as simple as forgetting a program start date or providing a different answer than what appears on official documents can create unnecessary complications during an inspection. Another important factor involves understanding the purpose of the F-1 visa itself. The student visa is intended for individuals whose primary purpose in the United States is education. Immigration officers often evaluate whether a student's activities remain consistent with that purpose. This is why questions about academics, future career goals, and post-graduation plans can be especially important. Officers are looking for evidence that the student genuinely understands their educational path and is actively pursuing the academic objectives described in their visa application. Students who demonstrate knowledge of their program and a clear educational purpose generally create a stronger impression than those who appear unfamiliar with the details of their own studies. Parents should also pay attention to these developments because many families assume that once a visa has been issued, the difficult part of the process is over. In reality, maintaining student status requires ongoing compliance with immigration regulations. Students must remain enrolled appropriately, follow university reporting requirements, keep documentation current, and understand the conditions attached to their visa classification. Families who understand these responsibilities are often better prepared to help students avoid common mistakes that can create unnecessary complications later. As international education continues to evolve, students must recognize that preparation is no longer optional. The immigration environment has become more data-driven, more detail-oriented, and more focused on verification than ever before. The good news is that most of the risks can be reduced through careful preparation. Understanding your documents, reviewing your academic information, keeping records organized, and practicing answers to common questions can dramatically improve your experience at a port of entry. Knowledge remains one of the most powerful tools available to international students, and those who take the time to prepare often find themselves navigating the process with far greater confidence and peace of mind. In the remainder of this video, we will break down the exact questions that immigration officers frequently ask F-1 students, explain why those questions matter, discuss common mistakes that trigger secondary inspections, and provide a practical step-by-step checklist that every student should review before traveling. Whether you are a first-year undergraduate student, a master's candidate, a doctoral researcher, or a parent supporting a student abroad, the information ahead could help you avoid unnecessary stress and ensure a smoother return to the United States.